Llewellyn Vaughan Lee, who is a Sufi mystic that I really enjoy listening to, once said, "The deepest wound we all carry is the wound of separation from God." That's quite a big statement. That's the universal deepest wound that we all carry. At the level of my small self, obviously, little Joe would probably disagree with that and say, no, my deepest wound is some childhood traumatic thing that happened at one time that still lingers in my thoughts to these days. Or some issue with my personality that makes it hard for me to function in society. Or something about my given circumstances that's just particularly hard that I don't know that everybody else has to deal with. No, those things are my deepest wounds. But fundamentally, all of those things are things that make little Joe feel a sense of separation and isolation. I am alone in this experience. I am alone in this trial of being a human being, because only I get to have this trauma and these feelings and XYZ other condition. Other people outside of me cannot be me. I am in this alone. The fundamental pain that I feel or have ever felt is the pain of separation. Now that big G word, I've talked about it before, of God, that makes people uncomfortable. And in my more cynical, smart aleck days of being a teenager, and even up until probably 7-ish years ago, I probably would have barked at somebody saying that that is my deepest wound, is the separation from God. This is another place where you just choose whatever words you can. Meet your psyche where it's at with whatever words you choose, but it doesn't really matter. The disconnection from ultimate source. We're born into this human body, and somewhat because of nature, of not having great investigatory powers as a child, and then also just because of indoctrination of people telling us this. There is a siren going by. I hope that it passes soon. The wound that I'm feeling right now is the separation from source, because I believe at some level that that police siren is separate from me and my video, and is infiltrating on my video, when in fact it is all one thing. Sometimes I have to exercise my right to talk in silly woo-woo nonsense. So, anyway, we're born into this body, and somewhat through nature, somewhat through indoctrination of people telling us we believe that we are just this small, limited human self. It is reiterated into us that there is a fundamental separation. And that separation is where absolutely all of suffering lies. I'm on my own here. Okay, yeah, there's this stuff around me, but it's not really... It's connected to me in as much as I determine it to be. And the moments of greatest peace that we feel, whether you want to look at them through a spiritual lens or not, it's in these moments of unity that we find. in these moments of deep connection, either with the conflicting aspects of our own person, our own psychology, or within systems, within groups of people. Or when we see something happen to somebody else that we're happy for. I think that unity of feeling fundamental source, I think that's exactly what it is, regardless of what you want to call it. But yeah, all suffering stems from the sense of separation. There's a great book called The Road Less Traveled, and there's a part where the author details a really painful part of a romantic relationship wherein one partner realizes at what you could call the end of the honeymoon phase that his partner is not him. Obviously, we can all intuit that in some sense already, but the honeymoon comes from this feeling of exceptionally felt unity. But the determination, when we suddenly say in our minds, okay, no, this thing is separate from us, that's all just a product of thought. We've decided this thing or this person is not like me because of this trait, or at just a materialist level, at a physical separation. I've had the experience of incredible, overwhelming levels of unity. And I can still feel thoughts fighting to create more separations. But the wonderful thing is that I've gotten in touch with my true nature. That nobody can take away from me, because it's not a matter of my thoughts believing that about my true nature. It just already is the case. That I am fundamental source. I would say I am God, but that has an air of pompousness to it, which I do not mean. All is God. And I can't live my life anymore with this sense of all these disconnected moving parts. Everything is the same in essence. There's a kinship that we can develop with a family member that is like, we're ride or die. You know, we got we got our problems, we got our differences. Sometimes we got our enormous differences. But it doesn't take away from the connection that can't be broken by just virtue of the fact that something's there. Something is there that we share. I'm just trying more and more to, you could say, heal myself of my deepest wound, which is separation. And the wonderful thing is that I feel like it's just kind of on autopilot right now. I feel like every single day, and especially from one month to the next, I'm just shedding any sense of separation. From thoughts, of course. Because in my true nature, there never was that separation to begin with. Yeah. Whatever you want to call your deepest wound, if you agree with that or not, I hope you're on the path to healing it.